Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another group call. Hi, Kaylee. Hi, Annabelle's.
Hello.
Hello, hello. First of April. Let's kick off the month strong. That's awesome. Oh, Charlotte. She's so cute. She's so chubby. So sweet.
You have all that breast milk going straight to the cheeks.
Yep. So cute. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. How are you, Kaylee? How was March for you? Any wins that we're wanting to share with everybody?
I would say probably just the main win is I've been consistently getting feedback just from like neighbors and people at my Pilates studio, like, oh my gosh, you look so good. I would never know you had a baby.
Oh,
So
that's
that
awesome.
it feels like my hard work is being like noticed more publicly recently, which is just nice to hear.
Absolutely. And how do you feel about your progress?
I feel, I mean, I think I am hard on myself sometimes and like, oh, I can be better and I'm not quite exactly where I want to be, but if I take a step back, I like need to just be like, hey, I I've lost
Yeah.
over 40 pounds. I'm like lighter than I was pre-pregnancy. I need to be okay with that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And those two things are not mutually exclusive, right? You
right.
you can be absolutely happy and, excited about the progress that you've made while still working towards getting better and improving and working towards another goal. So, but it's important definitely to look back and reflect and celebrate those wins because it feels really good. And it feels
Yeah.
really good to be recognized as well and see other people notice
Yes.
the progress. So, amazing, amazing. Great share. And what's the goal for April?
Uh, so the last half of April, I'm going to be in North Carolina visiting my family. So my goal is to just try and keep all the habits that I've been forming over the past couple months and like make sure that those are still non-negotiables, even when things might be a little bit harder to like, I'm not gonna be able to meal prep and stuff, but just taking all the knowledge that I have, and then driving myself a little bit further out to the gym and making sure I'm still getting in good training sessions.
Good, good. That's awesome. That's awesome. We can definitely talk more about how to put that together on your check-in. Now, the bellies, how are you doing? Oh, I can't hear you. No, that's fine. If you can't unmute yourself, that's fine.
Oh, I'm bathing the dog. We just came from a walk, so
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, that's all.
any wins that you want to celebrate for March? I know that you just shared about your glute gains, so
Oh,
that's awesome.
what important to me? I'm 55 years old, and I care what I look like. I don't care how old I am. I want to be sexy. I want to be hot,
Yeah,
good, and I want people to notice it. So I'm so proud of my butt.
I love it. And you
Uh,
should be. You work so hard for it.
oh, I work so hard on my butt. Yes, I do.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
great work.
just I just want to gain. I'm seeing so many changes in my body. I mean, I don't know if you could tell my arms. I've never had muscles before. I've
Yeah,
gotten like really skinny, but that's about it. That's about it. Now I'm
yeah.
actually getting muscles, things that I've always wanted to have.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And
So
that's because you've
yeah,
been invested on this journey too,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you've been on here for over a year. You've went through the phases. Same thing as Kaylee, for example. She's having a great results post-pregnancy because, she's been at this for a while. So you guys are definitely reaping the benefits and just getting the results of the hard work that you put in and the mindset of always looking long term and not just wanting those short
Yeah.
term quick results. Super proud of you. Super proud of you. Super proud of you, Kaylee. That's just amazing. And yeah, let's kick off April and make this a fantastic month. I love your dog. So cute. Anyways, let me just go straight right into it because tonight is a mindset call. And you guys probably, I'll just mute yourself here at the bellies just so I can go ahead and speak on the topic. As always, if you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the chat and I'll be sure to answer them right towards the end of the call. But the first thing that I wanted to address actually was the recent coaching updates that we just made, that we just decided to do. And that's based off of you guys' feedback on our recent surveys, on how we do things and how to approach. As you know, I'm always trying to improve and make it better, not only for the experience, but for the ultimate goal, which is getting results and feeling in control of your journey. So just to recap, if you've been working directly with me, nothing changes. Basically, nothing changes in the sense that you're still going to be coached by me. You're still going to be messaging me. I'm still going to be there, reviewing everything, doing everything, programming, nutrition, all the things. If you are being coached directly by Coach Dorota, what changes is the first thing is all client messages is in one thread in the app. So it's easier for you. You don't have to switch back between Coach Dorota, myself, and sometimes messages get lost. So you contact both coaches in one messaging thread. You will still be contacting Dorota primarily, but just know that I'm there. So if you want my insight on something, just, hey, Andrea, can you help me here? Can you, drop your insights here, and I'll be, it's easier for me to visualize that as well. Okay. So that just streamline things. The second thing with the weekly check-ins, moving to a written message inside the app, which makes things faster, clearer, and easier to communicate, and for you guys to go back and look at their feedback as well. Sometimes what happens is you have a conversation on a call or you watch a video and then it gets lost. And when you want to reference back what the coach said or what we said on the call or something like that, it gets, you have to go through and watch the whole entire video or remember what was said on the call. So messaging and writing it down makes it easier for you to know what the steps are, what you need to do, and the reminders that you need to the actions that you need to take on. Now, you're still going to have one monthly Zoom one-on-one call with your coach. Okay. So that's still going to happen in order to review the previous month and plan the next action steps or any shifts that's necessary for the next month. And you'll have the option also to book a get unstuck call. So anytime between check-ins or between, you just feel like you need extra support or you have an extra, you need extra guidance on something specifically, you can go ahead and book a call with your coach. Or if your coach, based on your progress or struggles or anything that you're going through, decide that it's better to talk via call face-to-face, then she'll also book a call with you. So the call is always there available. The only thing that's going to change, it's that it's not going to be, and just for those working directly with Dorota, right? It's not going to be necessarily on a week-to-week basis. It's going to be on a as needed basis. Okay. And then training video submissions, we're capping at 3 or 4 per week, 3 to 4 per week. So you have the time to actually implement the feedback, have that back and forth, have that feedback. One thing that it's often not said enough is that it is normal to have to work on one specific exercise for weeks or even months on end. Okay, so it's not that we're being picky or that we're just trying to say the same thing every time, but sometimes it just takes multiple things that we might need to fine tune over the course of the weeks and the months to work on the same lift. So if we are reviewing, let's say 10 exercise reviews each week, you don't even know what you need to apply. And it gets lost in conversation as well. If we're reviewing them on calls or reviewing them via Loom video, it is harder for you to go back and refer back to what we said. So the training video submissions between 3 to 4 per week, so we can give the feedback, you work on the feedback, you implement it, and then the following week, we'll decide if we're still working on those same exercises or if we want other videos from you. And the feedback on the videos, on the training videos as well, we'll try as much as we can to concise and put everything into words, into written words, so it's easier for you when you're in the gym, we're in the middle of your session, to refer back to what we said in terms of any cues or feedback that we gave to you. Because sometimes, again, you receive the feedback on Monday and then you go do your training session on Thursday. By then, you might have forgotten already what we said, or communication gets lost. So when you have it in written, you know that you can go back to our chat, refer back to the conversation, and you know exactly where the feedback is and what you need to do. Then the fourth one, bi-weekly group coaching calls, which is something that majority of you voted for. Instead of weekly deep dives, bi-weekly deep dives on a specific topic, which is good because all of us can prepare better for every couple of weeks, just twice a month, to be here and discuss about a topic and actually implement what we discussed and not get lost in the noise. Okay. Now, the real purpose of the check-in is something that we discussed as well. The real purpose of the check-in is not necessarily to discuss every single detail or to, write on a novel about your whole entire journey and leave you confused about what to do. The goal is to remove as much of the guesswork and as much overwhelm as possible and give you the clarity that you need on what you need to implement on that week, what you need to focus on next. Okay, so our job is to look through data, your progress, filter out the noise, and give you exactly what you need that matters most on a specific given week. Okay, sometimes more information or more details or trying to fix everything all at once just leaves you more confused, and that's not the goal of the program. Okay. Now, something that I'm really excited about. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to share this with you. I cannot wait. It's going to take some time because I want to make sure that everything runs smoothly, perfectly, but we are going to launch your body recomp roadmap, okay, which is a system where you'll be able to use alongside with the app. So you're still going to be using the app, of course. That's our hub. That's where everything happens. But in addition to that, we're going to have the roadmap tracker where you'll be able to visualize on a calendar year which phases you're going through, for how long, when you transition to specific phases, when you have special dates coming up, which phase specifically you're in, when you're transitioning it, what's happening with your weight, something that the app, unfortunately, I've been working with this software company for like 5 or 6 years. They do not show the average body weight, which is something super simple. But this is something that you're going to be able to visualize your average weekly weight instead of just the trends. You're going to be able to visualize your average calorie intake, which is helpful as well. And when it comes to nutrition, there's also going to be a built-in meal plan that we can customize to you, and you know exactly how to make the substitutions, which is it's going to be very, very easy. So if you want to swap this for that, you don't even need to think about how much, what the amount is going to be, because it calculates automatically for you. I'm very excited, very excited. This is going to be amazing. Again, it takes some time to implement everything, to make sure that everything is well-rounded and working well, but it's going to be a game changer in how you see your overall journey, how you visualize it, and how we collect data, and how you put together this data according to your progress. I think this is going to be, it's going to make our lives so much easier and the process so much more fun as well. Because that's one of the things that we heard from feedback is, not knowing exactly when to transition through phases, which phase I'm in, or what exactly, how long does it take, etc. And even when we talk about these things, sometimes it's not visually clear. So for those of you who are visual, that's going to be super helpful. For those of you who are data driven, for those of you who are very organized with your stuff. For those of you who love spreadsheets and who loves to have organized information, that's for you. All right, and the seventh one that I'm very excited about as well is going to be the renewal bonus that we're going to be dropping soon for the month of April. And the reason why I wanted to do this month is because we're starting fresh. It might not look like, at least here in Ontario, it doesn't look like spring yet, but it's supposed to be spring. And that gives us a fresh new start into summer and warmer months, and just, I don't know, the mood, the energy is different. So I wanted to also launch this renewal bonus for you ladies who are invested on this journey long term, to help you secure your spot long term and save you a ton of money over the course of the next year as well. So stay tuned. I'll be dropping the details very, very soon. And I think that's it in terms of the updates. If you do have any questions, if there's any concerns at all, please message me. Let us know. Message us in the chat, in the WhatsApp chat as well. More than welcome to answer your questions. But just know that every time that we ask for feedback, that we ask for that we survey you guys, is because we want to see what's working, not working, what we can do better, and go ahead and implement and make the experience even better. So that's it when it comes to updates. And now let's dive into tonight's topic, which is an interesting topic that I'm excited to talk about. And it was also lots of you asked to talk about more on our survey, which is mindset. So I decided to do that split into 2 calls tonight, and a couple of weeks from now. We're going to be talking about identity shifts and how to shift the focus on what you have been maybe unconsciously focusing on and creating in your life without even realizing it, and how that impacts your results physically as well. So tonight we're going to start with, what do you focus on, you create. Are you addicted to the struggle? And then on 2 weeks from now, we're going to continuing that topic, giving you some specific strategies that we can implement right away. So I'm going to share my screen. Tonight is very simple. Just a Google Doc that I wanted to write out all of the ideas. As you know, if you have any questions, as you have insights or questions, just drop them in the chat below, and I'm more than happy to answer them at the end of the call. And I think we're right there. Can you see my screen? I think you do. Perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it a little bit bigger, but there you go. So I heard this from a mentor the other day, about being addicted to the struggle and being addicted to things being hard, things always needing to be so hard. And that hits home for me because I grew up with that mentality of things like, in order for you to get a reward, you need to work extremely hard. It has to be so hard, and you have to almost suffer your way through it, which is not true. But then at some point you get there. At some point you see results. You finally start seeing results. You're lifting heavier. You're eating more food. You're without, that guilt that you used to have before. Your body is changing. Your clothes are fitting better. You're actually feeling good. You feel good for a moment, but then you start to pick yourself apart. You start to self-sabotage. You start to doubt your journey. Well, I should be leaner by now. I should be looking better by now. By the amount of work that I put in, I should be looking way better. Maybe I'm gonna add a little bit more cardio here. I'm not even gonna talk to my coach, but I'm just gonna add a little bit more cardio just because. Or I've messed up this weekend. I've ruined it at all, right? You don't even enjoy the process anymore because you're always looking for what's wrong, for what's not working. And why? Because it feels foreign when you've been living in hustle and living in the struggle and in self-criticism for so many years. When you finally feel good, that's not familiar for your body. That's not familiar for your brain. You've been trained, you've been conditioned to only believe that the results only count if they come with struggle. And I'm not even talking about just hard work and doing things that are hard, but struggle. You have to suffer through it. If you don't, it doesn't count. And believe me, this hits home for me because this is something that I personally have to work on and have been working on, allowing things to be easy and to flow and to shift my perspective in how I see things, right? So our brains, whenever it comes to picking between a familiar struggle or a familiar pain, a familiar discomfort versus an unfamiliar success, 10 times out of 10, you're going to pick the familiar struggle because that's what you're used to. That's what you know. That's how you know how to operate. You don't know how to operate when you're having success because that's not what you've been used to, right? So it's harder to break through that cycle. And how many years, how many of you guys have been in that struggle mode for how long? Decades, right? So whenever you're stuck in that loop of not enough, it's not enough, got to do harder, 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 it's got to be harder. Peace or feeling good feels unsafe. So it's a threat. Then you start to micromanage things, then you start to self-sabotage, to overthink, to give up. The thought of giving things up and the thought of not doing certain things, they come and go. But you start listening to those thoughts a lot more, and you start doubting yourself a lot more, and you start listening to other people that are not where you want to be, but you start listening to them because maybe they're right. Maybe it's not worth it. Right? And none of this is because you're lazy or you're undisciplined. You're like, majority of you guys here are successful in other areas that if you were to be a lazy person or undisciplined person, you wouldn't be at the position that you're in today. Right? So that's not the problem. The problem is your identity or who you think you are, who deep down you believe you are, is still tied to that version of you who had to grind for everything. And everything feels so hard. And one interesting thing, I actually have it on a post-it note here, which is the way you talk about a task changes how you feel about it. So the way you change about the way you talk about the things or the way you think about the things that you need to do changes how you feel about it. It can feel super hard if you think that it is hard, but it can be just what you do. It's just easy if you say it is, right? If you perceive it as it is. Which, if you put into perspective, the really, 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 really hard things in life doesn't compare, right? To like drinking water or lifting heavy or, the other day I saw a guy running. I don't know how he was running, but he was running. He had no legs, no arms, and he was running, like scraping his balls on the ground. So like we get to do these things, we get to do it. It's not like really, really hard. Now, the point is, you don't just need a new goal, a fresh start, a new challenge. You need a new identity. And that's what keeps on going and keeps you going. And that's what really makes things stick. the transformation, the best transformations physically that we have in the program, the best transformations mentally that we have in the program, they come from those of you who, over the course of time, invested in this identity shifts, became a new person, became the person who, became the person who you envisioned yourself to be. Because thinking short term, just thinking about the macros or the workouts or the tactics or the plan, that's very short lived. It's about becoming the person who lives in that body, who thinks, speaks, eats, show up like her, like that woman that you want to be. And one phrase that I also love, and I added on here, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you rise to the level of your standards, beliefs, and your ability to hold success without trying to sabotage it. And you're only able to do that when you embody this new identity, this new person that you're becoming. I know it sounds woo-woo, but I promise you, if we don't change things up here, if we don't change how we view ourselves, if we don't change who we believe we are in the process, any results that you get here is going to be short-lived. It's not going to change. It's not going to last because it's not going to be in alignment with who you think you are, who you believe you are deep down. Okay. So here are a few tips for you to break free from the struggle addiction. Number one is act like the woman you are becoming. Now, don't wait to become her to then be her now, right? Think about it. What would she do after a weekend off plan? What would she think? How would she react? Would she react or would she recommit? Start acting like her before you're actually her. Number two is upgrade your language. So stop saying things like, oh, I'm a snacker. I'm a, this is so hard for me. I always fall off. I'm on the struggle bus. And you keep on repeating and repeating, I'm on the struggle bus. I'm on the struggle bus. It's always so hard for me. Always so hard for me. I have a sweet tooth. Blah, blah, blah. And you keep on, like, it's a self-proclaimed prophecy. The words you speak have power. And the way that you talk about these things, you're just creating more of it without even realizing it. I saw someone sharing something today that was, if we're only, let me see if I saved it because I want to reference back exactly how I read it because I said it multiple times too. If you're always talking about yellow, even if you don't want yellow, that's all you're going to see. Then someone asks you to find blue and you won't even notice it. Same with your goals. Same with your progress. Keep calling out what's working, what's feeling good. Lean into the feeling of already having what you want. That's how you create more of it. Because if you're always attaching yourself to the lack and always thinking, like self-proclaiming that prophecy of everything's so hard, I can't eat that, I can't do that. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to gain weight, and I gain weight so easily, blah, blah, blah. That's literally what you are creating for yourself. So pay attention to your language, how you speak. And that's the first initial step to becoming her, because that will guide your nervous system, that will guide your beliefs, that will guide your actions ultimately. Okay? So instead of saying I always fall off, you can start saying I always come back. Instead of saying this is so hard for me, I can't eat that, I'll gain weight, blah, blah, blah. I know what my body needs. I trust my body. I'm building something better. I'm building a body that I'm proud of. Right? So pay attention to that. And sometimes, I mean, most of the times, we do that almost unintentionally. We don't even realize that we're doing that. We maybe make it as a joke. I come from a Brazilian family, Latino family, so it's very normal to criticize other people's bodies and to talk about it and to joke about it and to, you know, almost like it's harmless to do that. So you're always picking yourself apart. You're always making fun of a weak point that you have. Somebody's always pointing something out on you. It's very normal, super healthy, super healthy. Anyways, try to pay attention to how you use those words, even when you don't mean any harm, even when you're like, oh, I'm just joking about it. It's still words. It's still words. Your brain doesn't know how to differentiate if you're joking, if you're being sarcastic, or if you're speaking the truth. So don't mock yourself. Don't criticize yourself in the form of a joke. Okay? Speak good things. Number three is detach yourself from perfection, anchor to progress, which we've talked about relentlessly during the Momentum Reset challenge. But always remember that one meal off is not going to undo your progress. Always remember that there's always a way to come back. One slow week, 1 week that things, are not the best, it's not a failure. Doesn't mean that it's a failure, right? There's 52 weeks in a year. There's so much that you can do. So focus into that. 4, leaning to peace. Peaceful and feeling good. It doesn't mean passive and doesn't mean that you're not striving for more. It doesn't mean that you're being lazy. It doesn't mean that, oh, you're giving up on things and you're just going with the flow and hoping that things work out. That's not what I mean by this. It's trusting the plan and letting your body respond. It's doing your part, not from a place of struggle, not from a place of hate and self-punishment, but from a place of love. And if you are working towards becoming this person, the process should become a part of what you do. No chaos, no overwhelm, no, oh my gosh, this is so, no, this is just what we do, right? And another thing that's important too is knowing when to push and when to pull. Majority of us here are hard workers, are high achievers, it's easier for us to go and grind harder and work harder than it is to chill. But now pregnancy is forcing me to chill a little bit more. Anyways, so I'm learning a lot about that. Um, but that's where true awareness comes in, knowing when to push, knowing when to pull, um, knowing when to, speed up the pace and knowing when to slow down. And that's why we're here for as coaches too, to help guide you which season you're in and what season you need in the moment, right? It doesn't always mean that this is going to be feeling good all the time and feeling, oh my gosh, like a bliss. It's not. But at the same time, if we're not mindful of how we are approaching all of this from a mindset perspective, from an identity perspective, we make it harder than it needs to be, right? We make more drama than it needs to have because ultimately we're choosing to become somebody who does X, Y, and Z, right? We can't grow and stay the same at the same time. We can't grow. We can't achieve different results by doing the same things. And we can't achieve different results by being the same person all the time. That's growth, right? And sometimes that means releasing that struggle, releasing that need to grind and to feel that you're doing something that's so hard. Now, Something else that I wanted to touch on, and you guys let me know if this is being helpful or this is absolutely dog shit and we should not talk about it. Drop it in the chat. Now, have you ever noticed, this is just to show how our minds impact our body, right? Have you ever noticed that the more you stress about your body or anything else really, the more you stress about it and the more you keep on ruminating on it, the worse it feels. It's not just in your head. Your energy directs your actions, and your actions create your reality. And tonight we're talking about how to shift from this looking for what's going wrong to what's possible, and how to use, our thoughts and beliefs and our faith, really. This is what faith is, as a tool to help us with our physical transformation too. Because ultimately your thoughts shape your emotions shapes your actions, and your actions create your body. So if you're always, always, always focusing on the lack, always, always, always focusing on the frustration or how frustrated you feel or how you fear, you keep on getting more of it. Fun fact, not too long ago, I was stuck on this mindset. Again, I think pregnancy just amplifies everything. So it amplifies when you're also not in a good mental state. But I was noticing everything that was wrong, everything. And all of a sudden, life just started to feel like really hard. And the more you dwell on it, the more you look for those things, the more you find it. Then I started to shift and started to look for the things that were really good, that were doing really well, the things that I'm grateful for, the things that brings me peace. And my state started to shift because I started to shift what I was looking for. Okay. And what most women do, and many of you might remember on our initial conversation maybe, but whenever we're talking about goals, many women don't have clarity on what they want. They don't know. They know what they don't want. Okay, tell me more about your fitness goals. What do you want? What do you want to achieve? Well, I don't want to gain too much weight, and I want to lose weight, but not too much. I don't want to look too muscular, and I maybe I want to look toned, but just a little bit, but I don't want to look too muscular. Definitely not. And I don't want to look too skinny, and I don't want this, and I don't want that. And they start pinpointing all the things that they don't want. Have you ever got into an Uber and asked the driver to drive you to where you don't want? Can you please drive me to the address that I don't want to get to? It doesn't happen like that. You have to have clarity on where you want to be and where you want to get to. And focusing in just, not having that clarity on the initial goal, on what you truly want, makes the process a lot harder because you don't have clarity on where you want to be, and the process is dictated by the goal, right? So if we want to get to, San Diego, we need to have a specific address to drive and get there, right? So the address that we put in the GPS first, that dictates the roads that we're going to take. And the same thing with the fitness journey, or with any area of our lives, really. We need to know where we want to get to, what we visualize, what we want, and then create the roadmap to get there. Not the other way around. Not like, oh, I don't want to get there. Right. But where do you want? Where do you really want? Anyway, it's a fun exercise. It just popped to mind right now. A fun exercise that a mentor of mine suggested for us was to make a list of 100 things that we want in life. not the things that we don't want. 100 things that we want. And that could be anything. That could be, I don't know, a bougie handbag, a trip to whatever. That could be a book. That could be anything. But the things that you want, you guys, it's so hard. It's so hard to put together that list because it's very easy for the brain to just shift the focus to the things that we don't want or to just minimize the things that we want and not give it enough credit or don't believe that that's possible for you. So that's focusing on the lack, right? I'm not losing weight. I'm not seeing my body changing. This is taking too long. Maybe focusing on fear. What if I gain weight? What if it doesn't work? What if this, or what if I can't commit? What if this? What if that? Blah, 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 blah. And you live in the world of the what ifs. But you never ask yourself, what if it does work? What if I do get there? And there are other ones that focus on frustration. I messed up again, and then they beat themselves up. Why can't I just be more consistent? You ask a lousy question, you're going to get a lousy answer. Because when you ask yourself, why can't I be more consistent? Why do I always do this? The answers are not going to be very helpful for you, probably. Okay. So if you're always focusing on where you're stuck, why you're stuck, why nothing works for you, why is everybody else progressing and you're not, why this, why that, you're putting yourself in the victim seat and you're going to attract more of the same energy. Okay. Now, it's time to direct your focus and energy towards what you want to create, not you want to escape from. Because ultimately, mind and body are one thing. And you live in one body your whole entire life. So if you live in self-trust, if you trust yourself, if you trust the process, if you trust your body, discipline or doing what needs to be done feels almost natural. Again, because it's aligned with the person who you want to be, right? But if you're always in fear, you're always in constant like, oh my gosh, what if this, what if that? You're always focusing on that, then you're always self-sabotaging. And like I said, shift your language. That's going to be the first step. Always, always, always pay attention to how you're speaking to yourself and how you're talking about your body, how you're talking about the mistakes you make, how you're talking about the process, how you think and respond to when someone compliments you. Do you say thank you? Or do you immediately diminish your progress with something like, oh, no, it's nothing. Oh, no, I still have long ways to go. Oh, no, yeah, but, I'm still working on this. Oh, no, but stop it. Stop it. Someone compliments you. Say thank you. That's it. Learn to receive good things, starting with compliments, starting with someone recognizing your efforts, and you just be appreciative of it. Thank you. That's it. She's giving something. She's giving you something. She's giving you a gift. Just say thank you. Okay. Don't diminish your efforts. Don't diminish your results. And this is something that requires a little bit of work because it's almost automatic. When someone celebrate your wins or when, even in the program, you might feel, a little bit awkward to share your wins. You don't want to brag about it. You don't want to be a show off and you don't want to, maybe make someone else feel uncomfortable. But here's the thing too. other people's feelings and the way they react to your progress or to your wins has to do with them, not you. You can't control that. And by you sharing what's working and by you patting yourself on the back, by you embodying that person that receives compliment, accepts compliment, celebrate wins, share your wins, and are proud of where and how far you came without any but just pure, I'm proud of it. You can help other people who might be feeling stuck and want to feel like you do. And most importantly, too, you help yourself. You're helping yourself. Because imagine if you were talking with your younger self. You would probably give herself a compliment. You would probably hug her. You would probably celebrate the heck out of her. You wouldn't put her down. So why do you do that to yourself now? You know? So think about these things and how we act and how we bring these mindsets that can feel so subjective and woo-woo. How do we bring this to the day-to-day? And how we don't even notice that we do certain things, that we speak in certain ways, that we put ourselves down more than we realize, because it's just the way that we've been doing things up until this point. This is just who we are. But this is also a part of the process of transforming, is feeling comfortable, being okay with doing well, with winning, with making progress, with feeling good. Because that energy attracts good things into your life and attracts good things into other people's lives too. You never know. Just Kaylin, for example, she shared that she was self-conscious about going live with me on Instagram, etc. Which it's fair enough. We've never done it, so you will, it's normal to feel a little bit uncomfortable with it. And then she saw that I think Carrie saw Supriya's testimonial before she signed up for the program or something like that, and she inspired her to take action and to, invest in her journey and to be here with us, which is pretty amazing, right? If Supriya hadn't had the courage to put herself out there and to share her story, Carrie would not be having the benefit of being through this journey as well. So you never know what's going to happen. And when you retract, when you're just like keep things with yourself for fear, you're not servicing anybody. You're not, being of service of anybody else, nor yourself. Because it does feel good when you're able to impact somebody else's life. And it does feel good when you feel good, just for the sake of it. Anyways, another shift in language is I feel behind, which is very common as well for us to sometimes feel behind and feel like we should be making more progress and this and that. Obviously, always talk to your coach in the sense of like, okay, where am I in my journey? Like what the timeline looks like. But also trust that you're on the right time for your journey. Why do you feel behind compared to what? Always ask yourself that question. Who am I comparing myself to? Behind in relation to what? To an imaginary deadline that you created in your head? To someone else's progress that you don't even know exactly how it's going? Where exactly are you getting that from? Why do you feel that you should be making faster progress? And why do you feel that your progress is slow? Where is it coming from? And then work on that and shift your language there. Because you are on the right timeline for your journey, for where things are supposed to be. And lastly, I'll be happy when. I will be so happy when my thighs are leaner. I'll be so happy when I can see my abs. I'll be happy when blah, blah, blah. What do you do in the meantime? You're not happy then? Celebrate the process. Focus on the process. If you're not proud about who you're becoming right now, you're never going to be happy when you quote unquote get there. Because there's always a next level. Always. Even when I stepped on stage, I was lean as lean as I could be. I would still look and say, I could have been leaner. I could be leaner. My glutes could have popped a little bit more. There's always something, there's always a next level. Always a next level. There's always something that you can improve on. So if you're waiting in this limbo of I'm going to be happy when, you're screwed. Because you don't never learn to appreciate the journey. You never learn to appreciate the process or who you're becoming in the process, because that's what it's all about. It's about who you're becoming in the process. Then whenever you get there, you're not even going to notice that because you're way too focused on what's next, right? So my challenge for you is, what's one thought? And you can journal about it. You can pray about it. God sometimes talk to us when we allow ourselves to talk to him. So what's one thought you've been having that's not serving you, that you have to let go of, and that you can reframe it? What's that one thought? And I suggest writing these things down when either before bed or as soon as you wake up, but when your mind is really, really fresh and when you have that like time to allow yourself to listen to your own thoughts. Sometimes there's so many things going on, we don't listen to our own thoughts. So your identity creates your actions. Your results will come from your behaviors, but your behaviors will come from your beliefs. You're never going to act, or you're never going to create results that are going to be in disalignment with your beliefs. And the question to journal again, the second question to journal is, if you already had the body that you want, not what you don't want, but what you want, how would you think? How would you talk to yourself? How would you eat? How would you train? How would you carry yourself in all those mundane situations with family, friends, getting compliments, talking to your spouse? If you already had that body that you want, how would you live your day-to-day life? And what if you practiced being her now? What if you embodied those actions now? You might feel a little forced because you're not there yet, but it might help you feel what it would feel like, right? So see yourself for a moment, again, either before you go to bed or as soon as you wake up. Visualize yourself in your dream body, walking through the day, waking up, looking yourself in the mirror. How does it feel? How do you move? How do you eat? How do you think about food? How do you train? How do you talk? How do you speak to yourself? How do you show up in other areas? How do you show up as a mom? How do you show up in your work? How do you show up with your spouse, with yourself, with your friends? Take a moment to close your eyes and think about and visualize how different it would be, how you would carry yourself if you were already in that body that you're working so hard for. And then write down in your journal, what does your future self believe? What does your future self believe about training, about food, about my body? What energy have I been living in lately? What am I ready to let go of mentally and emotionally? What does my future self believe about food, training, her body? What's the one shift that I can practice this week? Ask yourself these questions. Write it down. Allow the answers to come. Take a moment to sit in silence and let the answers come to you. If you believe in God, let God speak to you in that moment. Really ask for that guidance. Ask those questions, write those questions down, and ask for the answers to come. This will put you in a much better mental state, and this will align your vision to what you want for yourself. And when you have that alignment, it feels a lot easier for you to align your current actions because you're already acting as if. So act as if you were already there. Literally, when you're having a hard time, what would my highest version would do? What would she do in this situation? What would she think? How would she say? How would she react? So that's the exercise for the week. And I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to do it myself. I hope it was helpful. Any questions or any insights that you guys wanted to share? Here, feel free to share. We have like 1-2 minutes left. If not, you can share in the WhatsApp group as well. But I'm reading the chat here in the meantime to see if there's any questions there. That's awesome. That was that you really needed this, Kaylee. Amazing. Diana, amazing. Bedtime routine now, but we'll share in the WhatsApp group. Okay, perfect. All right. So thank you so much for showing up. I'll drop the recordings as well if you want to rewatch this multiple times. And then our next session will also have an implementation session as well. And you guys can share the insights from this session so you have the next 2 weeks to implement. But thank you for showing up, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.